We're not saying you should, but if you do want to get a little bit more Charlie in your life, a little bit of extra daily motor, and you can't wait till you get home,
Today we got the sound system.
there's an option for you. If you're interested in picking up middle-aged men, get a Maverick.
Yeah,
That's great.
they'll talk to you a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Hey everybody, it's Charlie and Alyssa with Daily Motor. We're here for our second ownership update on our 2022 Ford Maverick XLT with the 4K tow package. Oh, and FX4 in there as well. XLT, FX4, 4K tow package. This has been our daily driver car, really your daily driver car, for well over a year now. We've got 17,000 miles on the dash, and they have been a very trouble-free 17,000 miles. So we're going to spend the next 15 minutes or so talking about anything else we have to throw at you with 2-liter turbo Maverick truck ownership. Admittedly, it hasn't been super eventful because this truck has been quite reliable, but we've added a few little knickknacks and accessories and a few more thoughts after owning it for a longer period of time, driving some other vehicles, and kind of what our thoughts might be on what will be the next steps for our household. So let's get out and do a quick walk around the truck. If you do want to see more on our Maverick, we've got a ton of videos on this thing. We've done an ownership update, an ownership intro. I've taken it off-roading. We've used it for moving. We've towed with it. We've compared it against little, small-sized trucks. This thing has done a lot and held up pretty darn well. As I mentioned, it is the XLT package. That's the mid-level trim. Alto blue paint, one that you have been a good fan of. Alyssa's kind of into these grayish, bluish sort of colors. Sonic Gray Pearl on the Hondas is always a big one for you.
They're really soft slate greens.
Yeah.
I love those.
I think that might be the next car color.
Yeah.
I think anything that's hot on Pinterest now will be on cars in about 2 years.
Yeah.
So Ford, if you're watching, you need a nice, kind of a soft green color.
Actually, Hyundai Santa Cruz makes a nice soft
You're right.
green color.
You're right. It's similar.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there is a cactus gray for this one that has a little bit more of that grayish green as well, but not too much
I
green.
do like that color also.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, they make the Maverick in a lot of fun colors, which I think is really cool that Ford does that. That they sort of work with the ethos of this truck. A little quick overview on some of the things we had on it for a while now. The Sentry CT tonneau cover from Truxedo, still holding strong. You can see it's a little bit dirty from some dirt roads. Alyssa takes us down a lot of dirt roads, beaten up, potholed
really
sort of
do.
situations here in Michigan. And this tonneau cover keeps everything dry and protected inside. It's also secure so that if someone were to try to stab through this, they can't get in. Very strong aluminum slats. We did damage the rear tail light here a while back, and this has been our fix.
Yeah.
It's held up decently well. You can see there's still a lot of water in the light, but it still works. And until Mavericks start showing up in junkyards, I don't know if we'll actually end up doing anything with that. Oh. Popping open the tailgate, which, as you can see, locks. Open that up. We see Alyssa's dirty boots. Further evidence of her working. You know, in the last update we shot, there were people who like to make fun of us as being yuppies or something like that with the truck, and then someone defended us with your dirty boots in the truck.
That was really nice.
Yeah.
They said something about how dare you hate on having a new car when you have the luxury of being able to have a new car, and then someone said he's an auto journalist and she drives down muddy roads and gets her boots dirty.
Right, they're clearly using it.
Yeah.
This is the bed rug, which is held up a little bit better than I expected as well. We've done a lot of sliding of furniture in here, and I've had motorcycles in the back tied down, heavy things that haven't damaged it. I haven't taken it out recently, but I did power wash it not too long ago. Tried to clean off some of this dirt that has since returned. But even this mesh material, which I've been worried sliding things in and out would sort of catch and tear through it, hasn't done it. So for only a few $100s, I've been pretty happy with the bed rug. If you guys are interested in purchasing the tonneau cover or the bed rug or seeing more on them, check the link in the description. We've got a little bit of an affiliate program with them. We've been happy with those.
Yeah.
You can see we keep a zip tie or a bungee cord in there for just whenever something is going to be in here that we might want. Quick minute, just sort of attach it on.
Yeah, that's really helpful. All the little knick-knacky kind of things back here are really useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing we are adding, and I was hoping it would be here today, maybe I'll throw a little insert when it shows up tomorrow or something like that, but we ordered a net that should tie from here, 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 and here and go vertically. And that should allow, if say we run to the grocery store and you want to throw a few bags of groceries in there, if it's a strong enough sort of netting material, or you're just little things that you don't want rolling all around the truck bed, but you don't want to bother putting them inside. Yeah, maybe the boots.
Maybe, yeah.
Put those in there. That should add to the usability of the bed as well. We have run around with the 2x6s in the side here, and those ended up kind of getting in the way more than they were
really did.
useful.
Yeah, I'm also not crazy with the paint scratching it ended up doing on this.
Yeah. You know, that's a bit of a shame. We do still use this little compartment, extra bungee cable in there. We had 2 straps in there, but then we tried pulling a tree out with the straps and broke them both.
Yeah.
Yes, so have to replace our little strap compartment there. Sometimes I keep gloves in there as well. Yeah, the bed has been functional. We've moved a few more things. We've, like I said, I was actually able to get a full-size, 2 different full-size motorcycles in here, as well as a small motorcycle and a moped next to each other. Throw some photos up here. Unfortunately, I didn't get a photo of the big motorcycle, the big Yamaha bike in here. But I am going to try putting a 4-wheeler in the back of here in a few weeks as well. And it's a Honda Polaris Sportsman 570. It should fit. Should fit.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
That'll be interesting.
You'll have to get a video of that.
Yeah. Especially with the strength of the tailgate will be an interesting part of that.
I do like that. As simple as this truck is, it does have the ability to just connect the tail bed on one of these hooks, so you can have kind of like a 45-degree angle that it just rests at, which is nice for moving things that might not actually fit back here. So
totally, that has added to the usability of the truck bed quite a bit as well. Another accessory I've considered getting but haven't is one of those bed extenders. You can get sort of a metal gate that flips out and kind of goes like this, arcs around, so that if you did need to have something larger in here and keep it tucked in, you can do that. It's a little less important in a truck like this because of that mid-gate ability, but then you flip it inward and it can sort of provide a little tucked in area here. That's again, cute. To keep things from rolling around.
I do like that idea quite a bit.
Yeah. Close that, roll that back down. We should point out again, Alyssa is 5'10", and she is still tall.
I'm not.
We should point out that Alyssa is 5'1", and even at her height, she could reach into the bed from the sides if need be.
Yeah.
Not many trucks where you're going to be able to do that.
No. Nope. Really, not many.
Anything else on the exterior? Let's see. We do have plastic down here and down there, which should prevent from any sort of rust buildup, but no sort of plastic cladding here. So I could see rust building up in these Midwestern states later on. We have had our tires rotated a few times. They seem to be holding up decently well. Still a good amount of tread on these OE Pirelli Scorpions. How about in the back? Any updates in ownership for you regarding the back seats, Liz?
No, I mean, I don't spend a whole lot of time back here.
Sure.
Ever.
Yeah.
Have I ever ridden in the back seat here?
Maybe once or twice.
Man.
I know your mother has. She was keen to point that out in the last video, that she was very comfortable back here.
Yeah, my mom likes the back seat of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it is kind of funny because we don't really get to experience the back seat of things
very much unused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we are considering having children here in a few years, and I've talked to the Topher when he's had a Maverick before, and he was a bit worried about car seats fitting, but then he had a Maverick for a week and he said the rear facing car seat fits okay. So that's good to know. And if you need to connect the tethers for the car seat, you actually do so back behind these seats. I can't even remember. I don't even think I've taken.
It's right here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It's probably on this side.
Oh, it's this one actually, I think, right? And then there's tethers back there for the car seat that you hook in.
Wow, that's neat.
And that also is where our spare tire jack is. So at some point, Alyssa and I, once the weather's a little better, need to do a how to change your tire on the Maverick video. Yeah, looking forward to getting an opportunity to use some sort of these power outlets or anything like that. But most of the rear is mostly for storage and transport of things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do use the bottom half quite a bit though.
Yeah, you can see all our grocery
bags
and towel under there and everything. Yep.
Yeah. So I like to do this.
Just leave it up.
I mean, sometimes.
Sure. Why not?
Yeah.
Talked on it before. Keypad life outside there, very useful. Alyssa goes and does workouts multiple times a week and just leaves her keys, wallet, and everything right in the truck.
Actually, anytime I'm driving this truck, I don't take my keys with me.
Really? You just take it out of here and
Take it
just
out of
throw
here. Yeah, it actually.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got it. I just put it on the ring of my finger,
Mm-hmm.
and then drop it
Drop
in,
it in.
slam it down,
Sweet.
lock it on the. I never take my keys anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. If you do want to steal our truck, just break in.
You gotta know what.
And find it, and you'll be able to get right in, find the key, and drive away. Great. And then we'll file an insurance claim, get market value, and everyone will be happy.
Yeah, we'll be fine. You get a new truck, and we get some cash.
Yep.
Newer truck.
Another thing that has added to the usability of the truck is wireless CarPlay. Now, the Ford Maverick doesn't come with wireless CarPlay from the factory, and that's a bit frustrating because you get in the truck, your phone's in your pocket or whatever, and then
Or
you
in
got to
my
take it
purse.
out, or in your purse, and then you got to use the cable and plug it in. You can see we have had this wireless charger accessory here that we throw on. It's been really nice.
I do like that.
Yeah, but if you got to have a cable running through there, then it's kind of like, oh, what's really the point of having wireless charging? So we reached out to a few companies and actually got a few different wireless CarPlay options that we've used both in this truck as well as in some of our press vehicles we get that don't have wireless CarPlay enabled, any of the Hyundai Kia products or Genesis. Great cars, no wireless CarPlay. So a few different options here. We first started with this one. This is from a website called CarPlay Smartbox. It's a very literal sort of website there. This one's about, it's our cheapest option, so it's about $80 as currently priced. You can usually find discount codes here or there or whatever. And unfortunately, this one never worked with our Maverick. I tried so hard. I worked with the company. We tried different settings and different phones and wireless connections, everything. I tried updating the system. I put so many hours
He really did.
into trying to get this to work.
Yeah.
It works super well with other cars. The Topher has a very similar one for his Subaru BRZ. I've used it in the Hyundai products. So if you want the cheapest option, that should work for most cars, but maybe not the Maverick, which they say it should work with the Maverick. I don't know why it doesn't work with ours. I can show you here real quick. You plug it in, and then it wants to work, and then never does. So the idea with these CarPlay boxes is you just plug them in, and then in theory, if we were not taking these on and off, we could sort of tape it, tuck it in down there. You never know it's there. Now you can see this time it's not even coming up. So this one, unfortunately, has been not good for our Maverick, but we've still been happy with it with other products, and it is the simplest, most lightweight, and cheapest option that we've demoed. The second one is the middleweight here. This is from a company called AutoCast. This is their CP wireless car adapter. This one's going to run you about $120 as currently priced. Again, they always run in discounts and codes and everything like that. I think there's another one of these we have a code for. I'll put the links to all of them in the description. This one worked pretty well. This is similar to this product here, but actually works in the Maverick and is again pretty simple and lightweight. So we'll show you here. Confirmation, and with all wireless CarPlay systems, it does take a few minutes, not a few minutes, about 10 seconds or so for the box itself to start up, and then for the connection to be made. And then you see this screen, and if my phone were already connected, then it would launch us straight into CarPlay. And that does bring up a bit of an issue. Oh, well, there we go. It actually auto-connected to Alyssa's phone.
Huh.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that's definitely a conflict we've had here, which you'd have with pretty much any wireless CarPlay system, whether it be a non-native one like this or a native one, a vehicle that had wireless CarPlay supported. It's got to know which phone to default to.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a way with either of these boxes to set it to default to a phone. There might be, but we've definitely had issues where I'll drive the truck and then Alyssa will get back in and then it doesn't auto connect. So she's got to go into her Bluetooth settings like I was about to do and select the box. But when it does work, it is nice to have because she can listen to music, she can get in and out of the truck and just take her phone like this, walk away, and you have your Apple Maps or Google Maps, which seems to have us out in the middle of nowhere. That's interesting. You've got YouTube Music, you've got your dialer right up there. Oh, so cute. And all of your CarPlay abilities. Not the highest refresh rate or anything, but the functionality is there and, again, is easier than having to plug in. We will say that it's still important to have some sort of way to charge your phone in an XLT model like this. It is good to be able to have the wireless charging because wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay will suck your battery down pretty quick. So if you're going to leave it in your purse or in your pocket or something, just know your phone's going to heat up a lot and it's going to die quickly. So like I said, this one's about $120 or so. It's been pretty reliable, pretty stable. I know you've had a few issues with it, but I do think a lot of those are attributed to the phone compatibility. The one that has had fewer issues even than the AutoCast is our most expensive option, the One Car Stereo AI Box Lite. This one has been more reliable for Alyssa driving it around in that it would just start right up, auto phone connect. And it does have more functionality as well than just a simple wireless CarPlay and Android Auto adapter. If we plug this one in, this one is $180 as currently priced. Normal price, just over $200. It's discounted a bit. Same with all the others. You can do discount codes and everything. Oh, look at that. Our truck.
The net has been delivered.
Maybe we can drive to the house, get the net while we're filming, and then throw it in.
And then this will be a net installation video.
There you go. So there we go. We saw that this is connected. Now this is sort of its home screen. It actually runs a version of Android right here on the box. This is a little Android device, and it can do wireless CarPlay on top, but like right here, this is actually a little Android device. Oh, and there you go. So Alyssa's phone has auto connected.
Wow.
You've got wireless CarPlay going on, but if we exit right here, then we're back to the home screen of this AI box, and you can do a few things within there. You can install apps onto it, and you can see we've got YouTube. You do have to connect it to a wireless device, whether that's the truck's built-in Wi-Fi hotspot, or I'm going to connect it to my car's. Oh, I think it did connect. So this isn't something that you'd use all the time per se, but if you, say, had this in an electric vehicle or whatever and wanted to be able to watch Netflix or YouTube while you charged, or not that we're recommending it here in the United States because I can't say it's particularly legal, but as you get this going, you could theoretically watch Daily Motor as you drive down the road. There's nothing, I don't believe, that would actually time this out as you're driving. Look at that, watching a Daily Motor video in a Daily Motor video. Let's see, I'm curious now, can we drive? Look at that.
Wow.
So now, we're not saying you should, but if you do want to get a little bit more Charlie in your life, a little bit of extra Daily Motor, and you can't wait till you get home,
and today we've got the sound system.
There's an option for you.
2023 Hyundai Ioniq 6.
I will say that with all of these CarPlay adapters, making it wireless, they're not user-friendly. They're not beginner user-friendly.
No, I'll agree with that.
Absolutely not. And that's where a lot of my personal frustration has been with the Apple CarPlay adapters that we have put in here, because I need to be shown how to use them in order to use them by someone that knows how to use them. And I can't just get in here and be like, oh yeah, I know what to do. And you, Charlie, know what to do because you are in thousands of cars and you...
And I'm a tech nerd.
And you're a tech nerd. I am totally not a tech nerd. I could care less about it. Give me a simple iPhone. I just want to do my things. This is really confusing. So if you know that about yourself, research it, figure it out, talk to somebody if you're interested in having a car that, you know, you don't get wireless CarPlay in, but you want that feature, and so you want to buy one of these things. Just know thyself.
Yeah, it's certainly not as seamless of a system as something like the Honda that we were in recently, that you paired your phone within 30 seconds, never being like told anything, it just worked and away you drove. And then there's the fact that CarPlay still isn't as slick as just having a really good big infotainment system. Similar to, again, we've seen in Volvos, we've seen in Hondas. So yes, this can help, but it's not going to be a replacement for just a good native system.
Correct.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
And this one, despite being this AI Box Lite, is the most advanced, and I would probably go with it because it's also been pretty reliable, but again, steeper learning curve. And so, for example, before I had told Alyssa how to use it, let's let it fire up here back into CarPlay, which, as you can see,
for example,
takes a second.
I had my my phone connected to the CarPlay on this system. And I had no idea how to go from CarPlay to the radio.
Right, that's what I was going to show here.
And I still don't know how to do it, so I'm going to learn with everybody else.
Right, because she was used to, in normal CarPlay, when you just plugged in or whatever, you hit the Ford exit button, and it would bring you back to your Ford screen.
This was so infuriating to me, because I was like, exit, what is happening? And then I press that.
Yeah, that's it.
And then I go here.
Yep.
And this screen, I did not pop up.
Okay.
I was hitting audio and nothing was happening.
Yeah, it's as Alyssa said, it's definitely good to know the difference between kind of being a tech nerd, being a car nerd, being into that versus just wanting something that works.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I didn't know, the difference between a one-time glitch and like this program just doesn't work at all.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But glad to know it was a glitch.
Yeah, so if you are interested in adding wireless CarPlay to either your Maverick or to any of your other vehicles that don't have it, these are 3 different good options. I will post the links to all of them in the description. Been happy with using this outside of the Maverick. Been happy with using this one in the Maverick. Been the most happy with, no big surprise, the most expensive, the AI Box Lite here. That's been working pretty well. Now, that being said, if we were going to keep this in permanently, you see how much smaller the AutoCast is, that I could easily tuck this up under. You wouldn't even see it. I could run the cable. This one would have a little bit more.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, I could get away with it, but maybe other vehicles, this, if you don't want to tie it up, then it's sort of dangling there. This is super light, and it's just a little bit more of a slim, easy function. All right, let's do a little bit of driving.
Okay.
Regarding maintenance and upkeep for the Maverick, we've had 2 oil changes. I've done them both at our local Ford dealer, Gene Buttman Ford, here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. I've done that because I've actually used the Ford Pass points that we were gifted, if you will, when we purchased the truck. So when you purchase a new vehicle from Ford, they give you these Ford Pass points. Everyone's doing points for various things these days, and it gets you about $140 worth of credit to use toward things, maybe even a little bit more than that. I'd have to check the actual conversion, but we've been able to get 2 oil changes and tire rotations and inspections entirely paid for, so it's kind of like having complimentary service. But if for some reason I didn't want to take advantage of that, we could have used those points toward accessories for the vehicle, or maybe even toward the cost of a new car if I wanted. So that was kind of cool to be able to do that. The maintenance was very straightforward. Put in new oil, continued on. I don't know for sure if they used synthetic or conventional. I'm hoping they used synthetic, but either way, I think I will have to be doing this next oil change on my own. I think I've used up most of the Ford Pass points, and I will be putting full synthetic oil in the truck. We have had a few recalls as well, so the vehicle's been back at the dealer for those. We've had an airbag recall that we recently took care of. They had to replace the side passenger airbag, take some things apart, put a new one in. We also had a recall for the trailer brake controller software. They had to update that to make it not accidentally turn the brake lights on when we weren't using the brakes.
Oh.
I think there was one more recall as well. There's been fewer recalls for this 2-liter turbo than there have been for the hybrid, so that's been nice, but that does add an element to the ownership. I mean, we're very fortunate in that we have other vehicles to drive and the ability to live close to a dealer and take the car in and get picked up and dropped off. But for some people, that could be really difficult if this is your only car, if you're an only driver household, if you live very far from a Ford dealer. That's definitely something to consider. Now, that being said, are recalls a bad thing? I don't think so. I think it's good for a manufacturer to be standing by their product and actually fixing the things that they've noticed are a recurring problem and taking care of it for you free of charge. So that's good. But I'm not saying that just because Fords have recalls, that's a bad thing about Fords, but it's something to remember that recalls aren't always convenient. Having spent a lot more time in the truck, Alyssa's noticed that there are times when she's not exactly comfortable. We've gone on a few longer road trips, and you've mentioned your back gets kind of sore in the seat. Mine does as well. There's not a ton of lumbar support in these XLT seats. And then, despite it being a smaller vehicle, you don't fit super well.
I know.
Your feet, your heels have to be off the ground in order to touch the pedals properly.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I actually have to suspend my leg when I'm driving, and my heel actually does not rest on the floor.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I would say it also depends on the type of shoes I'm wearing. So if I'm wearing large, clunky boots, then I can rest my heel on the floor. But any other type of shoes, tennis shoes, flats, heels, no. I have to suspend my foot.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I also if I were to shove my seat all the way, then I could eventually rest my foot on the floor. But I don't want to do that because that's not a safe way to drive a vehicle. You're supposed to be able to maintain a decent distance between the wheel and your face in case you were to get into car accident and the airbags go off, you don't want to break your face.
Yeah.
So I have to keep that in mind. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, definitely something to remember. If you're a smaller individual or particularly large too, it's so important to go in and test drive vehicles and try to think. I mean, think of those things. Really put yourself. Don't just do a sit in the dealership parking lot and be like, oh yeah, I'm comfortable. Like, try to take it out for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Move your seat to some extremities of how you like to sit. And I mean, there's been cars like the Hyundai Palisade that's a mom-mobile, and yet you didn't fit properly
I
in it.
did not enjoy sitting in that.
Yeah, definitely good to know. Regarding fuel economy, over the winter we dipped about 2 miles per gallon compared to our averages, maybe about 1.5 actually compared to our summer averages. So we're, over the last 6,400 miles, we're 26.2. We were up closer to 28 in the summer, so I think 27 in sort of mixed driving, that's about what we have seen in this truck, which I think is pretty darn good considering the 4K tow package, the FX4, and driving this. I mean, you don't, I'm assuming, have a super high importance placed on fuel economy when you're driving, right? You just drive the car.
I do. I'm just driving it. I'm not necessarily paying attention to how I'm driving and whether or not that is affecting fuel economy.
Right. And when I drive, sometimes I'm a little bit more cognizant, coasting and things like that, but other times I like to open it up, clean some of the carbon out of the valves and everything. So yeah, I'd say this gets driven fairly normally for a regular use sort of person. And yeah, all-wheel drive vehicle with the practicality of this. Pretty happy with sort of a 27 all combined sort of fuel economy number. How about any other little random things you've noticed driving around ownership? I know your hydro flask, after you took the little rubber bottom off, fits nicely in the cup holders.
It does, yeah. It did. It came with a little rubber bottom that I use. It would fit, but I'd have to really shove it down in there.
Yep.
And I would notice that it would come off a little bit anytime I took it out of the cup holder. So
I noticed, I'll see if you can hear it real quick, a very subtle, it wasn't that clicking, but there's a much more subtle ticking noise to the steering wheel as you turn it. I thought perhaps that was going to be an issue, but I was told that that's something with the airbag clock spring, and it's fairly normal on vehicles, especially Fords, so it's not something to be concerned about, but that was something I noticed change over our ownership of the truck here.
That was something I also noticed too.
Yeah, you pointed it out.
Interesting, because I don't notice a lot of sounds. Although I did notice the turbo sound when we first got this.
Yeah.
And I was like, our car has turbo? A truck has turbo? And Charlie was like, yeah. Which was kind of funny. But since then, I've gotten used to that sound. It's not something I am perturbed by anymore. So.
No, but you raise a good point that there isn't a ton of sound deadening in the Maverick, so you hear a lot of that little motor ticking away.
Yeah.
And the horn as well. It's
Horn's
very loud. Yeah, there's
very
not a ton of sound deadening in the firewall there.
Yeah.
I've been pretty happy with how the materials have held up in here. I mean, we're not rough on the truck inside. We don't have kids. We don't have dogs. And it's only been a year and a half. But not really any scratching or anything. You can see this is honestly dirtier than it usually is in here. And you put your bag in here regularly. All this seems to be holding up well. The floor mats, we have the kind of all-weather floor mats, and they're pretty dirty, but they're collecting things.
Yeah.
Sliding the water bottle in and out here hasn't seemed to damage things much. The steering wheel holding up together pretty well. I'm not a big fan of the rubber steering wheel, but the leather steering wheel and the Lariat isn't that much nicer. So the first time I drove that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm okay with our steering wheel. I will say, compared to a lot of new cars, the screen isn't as far away as a lot of those new ones, so that's good. Is that even I can sort of lean back in the seat and still reach it, and can you reach it decently well when you're sitting in your position?
I lean forward a little bit, but I do that in most vehicles anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't love how the fan is a little loud even on the first fan speed here. Also, not having dual zone climate control. There are times when we take road trips where Alyssa will want to adjust it a little bit, and because I have my GoPro on my face, I've got to turn it down a little to make sure that getting fresh air on it so the camera doesn't overheat. So it would be nice to have dual zone climate control. That's more of a luxury sort of feature.
Yeah, you're not going to really get that on a vehicle that's sub 30.
Right. And
I have actually gotten a lot of middle-aged men interested in talking to me about this vehicle.
Oh, so if you're interested in picking up middle-aged men, get a Maverick.
Yeah,
great.
they'll talk to you a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. You probably got cooler people talking to you about your Tesla than you did with the Maverick.
Many different people. In the Tesla, I would have a lot of different kinds of people asking me how I liked the Tesla, what it was like to drive, you know, different things like that. Because the Tesla that we had, it was a white Model Y, is so easily recognizable, and so many different people would know that that is a different kind of car.
Right.
When it comes to, you know, the truck world, or if you're, you know, a Ford person, then you might be a little bit more inclined to know that the Maverick's a little bit special.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You've had a lot of Ford employees commenting on it and things like
Ford
that.
employees commenting on it,
Or
people that are
F-150
in
owners.
F-150 owners, or people that are in, you know, the truck market, or thinking about, you know, getting a different kind of truck and what that would be like.
Right.
Asked me how I liked the Maverick.
Yeah. So looking forward, I quite liked how recently Car and Driver, I guess it wasn't even that recent, but Car and Driver did a comparison between the Maverick and the Honda Civic, because pricing wise, they're pretty similar. They're both entry level vehicles, if you will, or next level kind of second vehicles, if you will, in a people's lifetime. It could often be the first new car that someone's buying, that sort of idea. And they're very, very different sort of cars. The Civic's going to give you a more refined, I'm not going to say luxurious, but more features, more refined driving experience, but obviously not nearly the level of utility as something like the Maverick. Whereas the Maverick does feel cheaper inside than a lot of, this is a $29,000 car. A lot of $29,000 cars do have more features or feel nicer than this inside, but they certainly don't have the usability, the fact that we take this off-road, we've taken it for doing a lot of utility sort of things, and getting that at this price point is really where the value of the Maverick lies in. Speaking of Maverick-esque utility type trucks, nice dark red Ridgeline.
Cute.
So if we move on from the Maverick, and when we do, it will probably be because Alyssa would like to have something that is a little less utility oriented, which admittedly is more me, and a little bit more creature comforts oriented, which is a little more you.
Yes, something that's a little bit a sedan.
Yeah. We're gonna get back to the house here and put together our little net in the back and wrap this up. This is a small frustration of mine with the Maverick, is you pull into your driveway and you put your foot on the brake, come to a stop to shut the truck off, and I'm still in drive, and the engine shuts off. Well, if I were to put it in park, the engine turns back on, and then I gotta turn off the key. It's an unnecessary start. So what I often do is I shut off the truck in drive, and it automatically puts it into park. This is not sponsored. This is just the cheapest option on Amazon. It's a little $20 net, and pull it open here. In theory, it should go right into the truck bed. Here's the net, and then it should have 4 little lanyards.
Yep. Or whatever these are called.
Carabiners, not lanyards. Oh, they feel pretty heavy duty. I'm curious if they're gonna rattle.
Ooh, they totally will.
Okay, so there is a net, and then in theory, I don't want to put Alyssa's boots in there because they're filthy, but let me go grab something from the
net's
garage.
gonna get filthy.
So here's a good stress test. This is a little car 4-in-1 portable power pack, jumper, etc. So you might want this in the back of your truck, go doing something, you don't want it to roll around. Or this could be comparable to like a heavy bag of groceries. Got some bottles of wine in there or something. And you put it in like that, and then as you're driving around, it should in theory kind of stand up like that, or at least keep from going all the way around the car, especially if that's closed. Keep it standing up. That's sort of the most important part. So we can't really comment on ownership on the net because we literally just put it in, but I'm assuming that a few bags of groceries in here should kind of be tucked in nicely, and maybe other things that you might not want flying around as much.
Neat.
Cool. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We've enjoyed Maverick ownership, and yeah, who knows what we've got in store for it next.
Yeah.
Any other last thoughts?
No.
Cool. Well, thanks, Liz, for coming along, talking about our truck ownership. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you on the next one. We're Charlie and Alyssa with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.